In the late summer of 1588, the Atlantic Ocean became a battlefield without armies. Here, wind and water exerted a force no commander could negotiate with or resist. England's defense did not rely on overwhelming numbers. Instead, it depended on mobility, seamanship, and the ability to exploit conditions at sea. The Spanish Armada was conceived as a carefully planned operation. Its goal was not simply naval victory, but the transportation of an invasion army to England. When the Spanish Armada assembled in 1588, it represented the full weight of Spain's imperial power. More than 100 ships were gathered to escort an invasion force to England. But size came at a cost. The fleet was slow, complex, and difficult to manage as a single unit. Even before encountering English resistance, the Armada began to suffer. Crossing the Bay of Biscay exposed ships to Atlantic swells that tested hulls, rigging, and crews. Delays and damage accumulated quietly. Spanish commanders had charts, experience, and skill, but not predictive knowledge of weather systems. Winds, currents, and storms could be observed only as they arrived, not anticipated. Decisions were reactive. The Armada's ships were designed for boarding actions and Mediterranean-style warfare. High superstructures made them powerful platforms, but unstable in rough Atlantic conditions. Against prolonged wind and swell, these designs became liabilities. In the English Channel, England avoided decisive confrontation. Rather than close combat, English ships stayed at range, using speed and maneuverability to harass the fleet. The goal was not destruction, but disruption. Prevailing winds favored the English position. Spanish ships struggled to turn or hold ground against steady pressure from the west. Command mattered less than conditions. At Gravelines, the Armada anchored tightly to maintain cohesion. English fire ships forced a sudden decision. To escape collision and fire, Spanish crews cut their anchors, sacrificing control for survival. Once anchors were lost, the fleet could no longer hold position. Ships became dependent entirely on wind and tide. From this point on, movement was dictated by nature. After Gravelines, the Armada was no longer a fleet in any meaningful sense. Ships were damaged, separated, and struggling to remain underway. Coordination collapsed. Driven north, Spanish commanders faced an impossible choice. They could not return through the English Channel and had no secure ports ahead. The only option was to continue into unfamiliar waters. As the fleet rounded Scotland, weather turned violently against it. Already damaged ships were battered by sustained Atlantic storms. Masts failed, hull leaks worsened, control diminished with every hour. This was not a single catastrophic event. Storm after storm struck ships that could no longer recover. Each system compounded the last. Along the western coast of Ireland, wind and geography converged. Unable to turn away, ships were driven directly onto rocks. Few survived the impact. Those who reached shore were stranded, exhausted, and far from help. Survival did not mean safety, only continuation. The campaign was effectively over. Elsewhere, surviving vessels limped onward. Crews focused only on staying afloat. Strategy, coordination, and command no longer mattered. When remnants of the Armada returned to Spain, the damage went far beyond ships. Experienced sailors, men trained over decades, were lost in vast numbers. This expertise could not be quickly replaced. In England, the Armada's failure was received as deliverance. The invasion had not landed. The threat had passed. Survival was remembered as victory. In Spain, the outcome was understood differently. Ships were repairable, men were not. The balance of naval power had shifted quietly but decisively. Almost immediately, the story began to change. Printed accounts emphasized divine favor and dramatic weather. Complex causes became a single explanation. The Spanish Armada was not defeated by one battle or one storm. It was undone by logistics, ship design, geography, and weather acting together. Nature did not choose a side, but history was shaped by those who endured it.